Wanted to go over briefly a lot of the high level of the product content that we have on the Escalade. The first two slides, I'm really trying to lay out a vision. What was our strategy? Where were we really going from the beginning when we got into the fourth generation? What do we want? What did we want? So the first thing on here is the exterior had to be unmistakably Escalade. We know we have a good thing with the Escalade. It's got 100% awareness in its segment. Everybody knows what it is if they've been buying luxury SUVs. So we wanted to make sure we were more evolutionary with an edge and an attitude instead of revolutionary to the point where people would say, oh, what did they do? They had it going, they went too far, this doesn't work anymore. So we really wanted to make sure that everybody instantly recognized it. And we did that by still keeping the proportions right, keeping a bold presence, big grills, working with our second generation LED headlamps. So that's where we really were focused on the exterior. The interior, this is one of our big goals. We wanted to get the vehicle into the Cadillac family even more than we were. So every generation, we've taken one step closer. And that design has been moving as well. So we just kept focusing and getting it in there where we've got these great materials, a very nice layering strategy where you go from these soft wrap materials into suede material, into wood, and then right back into a nice wrapped material so that everything on the interior that the customer is touching and feeling is wrapped and soft. And again, we talked about this a lot last night. It's all what we're calling this cut and sewn. And you can see right on the IP there's this beautiful, what we call deck stitching, where it all comes together, or on the seats or the console you've got French stitching. So we use a variety of those just to keep getting that luxury level up higher. Also wanted to offer some new technologies that are useful and really helpful for this segment. The first one is a hands-free liftgate. I don't know if last night, I know we showed that to a couple different groups. Please try it yourself. If you've got the key fob in your hand, purse, or pocket on the ride today, just give it a straight kick in and out from the, you'll see the license plate, the center line of the rear. It's just a nice feature. We're the first ones in the segment with this. We've added a bunch of safety features, which I'll talk about in a little bit. That's where we're in the driver awareness and assist. We're going to talk about magnetic ride control. The other one here, thoughtful capabilities. The people who buy the Escalade, they are luxury families that are on the go, and they've got a lot of hobbies, they've got a lot of needs. They're carting their children to dance, to soccer, and the like. So we needed to make it even more useful than it is. Big thing we wanted to get in here was a powerful flat flush third row seat. We're really happy with the execution, and we'll talk about that in a little more. So, a couple different pockets that we really wanted to focus on. So, what makes the Escalade an Escalade? Again, fully functioning LED headlamps. There's only a handful, and when I say handful, probably 4 or 5 different vehicles in the whole automotive industry that have gone to this point with a full functioning LED headlamp. And if the wording isn't right for you, these are where the LEDs are actually the low beam and the high beam. And if you look at our headlamps in detail, they're beautiful. It's almost the culmination of art and science that are coming together. So LED technology is much more available now. We've got this beautiful design that we're able to use with it. And that's what I'm talking about art and science coming together. And the technology is unique. It's called total internal reflectance. And the LEDs actually come in from the side on the high beam and then get reflected out. So if you want to know a lot more than that, if I'm driving with you, we'll talk about it. Again, hands-free liftgate. And one of the things that we know we needed to work on here, and we've done a nice job, is we've improved the entry egress, getting in and out of the second row and the third row. So the B pillar, the main pillar between the first and second rows, we've thinned that down and we pushed it forward so that there's a lot more foot access and entry into the second row. The C pillar, the pillar behind the second row, we've made that more vertical. So if you're flipping and folding the seats to get into the third row, there's more head and shoulder room as you're getting in. So we've cleaned a lot of that up. Again, we've talked about cut and sewn interior. Um, what I'll highlight on this slide is we really went for increased storage on the vehicle. A lot of kids are in the vehicle, a lot of usage. So we went and we put in, in the middle of the door. Every door has got a new shelf, a new pocket. You'll see that in there. Second row, got an additional map pocket with a bottle holder. We moved the cup holders in the second row from the floor, which were a little hard for 4- or 5-year-old kids to get. Put it right in the armrest, so it's much easier access. There's, behind the third row now, we've got hidden storage under the floor. So we've really done a nice job there, not to mention the hidden storage behind the Q system. Okay, here's an area that I'm confident all of you will really pick up on the ride today. The vehicle is amazingly quiet. We've taken a lot of steps, a lot of unique areas in acoustics, whether it's barrier, whether it's absorption, whether it's changing or transfer function in the vehicle, which we can talk about that if you're really interested in. How does energy, noise get into the vehicle? We've worked a lot with that. We changed the door design to help decrease wind noise. When we did that, we were able to get in triple seal doors. We have gone to acoustic laminated glass in the windshield in the front row, so it really cuts down on wind noise coming in. A lot of new barrier materials in the vehicle, where we've increased the density in the carpet in the first and second row. We've put in new acoustic pads under the IP. We've increased the thickness, the density of the pad, this barrier material that goes between the engine and the front of the dash. A lot of things like that. So I think what you'll find is it's a very peaceful, whisper kind of quiet interior that's very relaxing. And the goal there is when you're done with your hour commute or you're on vacation, you've been driving all day, you get out of the vehicle and you go, wow, I am refreshed. You know, this hasn't been any effort to drive this vehicle. You know, it's just my own sanctuary. So we really focused on that. Power folding third row seats. This is a nice execution in this sense. They're very fast, 3 to 5 seconds they're down or up. But what we've also done, and those buttons are on the passenger side, you open the liftgate, they're right there on the passenger side. We also have a set for the second row. And the nice part about that is those are a single push and they'll lay the second row down automatically. So the nice part of that is if you've gone to the store, you have an on-wire you're putting in, or you've just been to Costco or wherever you're going, you don't have to go to the passenger side and then go back to the driver's side and lay the second row seats down and then finally come back to the third row. All that can be done right from the rear of the vehicle. So it's a very nice execution that I don't believe is done in the segment. Rear seat entertainment. This is a high penetrator. Certainly on the long wheelbase, very family oriented, and we've made some really nice improvements on this. We've gone from an 8-inch to a 9-inch screen, which, okay, it sounds like an inch, but when you're talking percentages, you know, you're up to about 12–13%. So that's very nice. It's Blu-ray capable. Segment first again, and the important part of that is the folks that buy these vehicles, a lot of them are technology leaders. Blu-ray's been out for quite a while now. Half or more of their home libraries are DVD or Blu-ray, and so they want to bring those in there. And I'm sure you're aware you cannot play a regular Blu-ray on a regular DVD player. That does not work. You can go the other way around, but you can't play Blu-ray on a regular DVD. So we had to make sure for the usage that we went to Blu-ray. And then the simple things that are really fun and they don't cost you anything is right up here in the overhead console. It's just a pocket. It's a storage area for the remote control. So how many of you have been at home going, where's the remote control? I just want to change the channel on my TV, and you can't find it. Well, now we've got a place that's really easy and accessible to everybody back there. And then whatever you're bringing in your own gaming, your own movies on the USB or an SD card. It all fits right in on the back of the center console. So it's a very nice and simple system.
Yep. Hi, I'm Andrew Smith. I'm the Executive Director of Design for Cadillac globally.
And Andrew, we're in the brand new Escalade. From a design standpoint of view, it feels like it's more evolutionary than revolutionary. You kind of took the concept and you took it to 11. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. And certainly the focus on this vehicle has been on refinement and on craftsmanship. So building on a great brand that is the Escalade, almost a sub-brand of Cadillac, but really focusing on craftsmanship and fantastic use of materials in the interior.
So let me ask you the easy question first. What are you proudest of?
I think actually while the interior I think is a massive step forward and really a beautiful interior, probably the thing I'm most excited about is the headlamps. I just think
cool.
they're really awesome. Yeah, and you know, you get looks in traffic. People love the look of the car.
Now, obviously, the headlamps have become kind of the bling, right?
Yeah.
The jewelry of any vehicle.
Yeah.
And they define what that vehicle is.
Yep.
So how much time did you spend on them? I mean, how did you get... And the other cool thing is there's a kind of a neat symmetry between them, right? You've got this kind of up and down
Yep.
Symmetry that you have in the headlamps, and
Yep.
you also have in the tail lamps. So
Yeah.
was that on purpose?
Yeah, so again, what we try to do is take elements that people know as Cadillac and evolve it, you know, bring it forward. And Cadillac has always been about taking the latest technology and applying it in an artistic way. And you see that on both the exterior and on the interior of this vehicle.
Yeah, and so art and science becomes design and execution.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even, you know, on the interior, you've driven the car today. I think you'll agree that it really is a very refined vehicle, but it's also a vehicle that you can tailor to your own needs or your own preferences. And I think that using technology to make the vehicle your own is something that Cadillac's really interested in.
Yeah, talk to me about the materials you use. This wood feels very woody.
Yeah, so actually this is the open pore wood.
Yeah.
So there's 3 woods available on the Escalade today, but this open pore wood is really a very different interpretation of wood in the automotive sense.
Usually it's kind of glossy, like a piano, right?
Exactly. We're always trying to make it as clean and as shiny as possible, like a grand piano. This is something that's truer to the material itself, more like you'd see in furniture, where you actually see the open pores of the wood and really highlighting the grain with this kind of satin finish.
And I believe the interior here is called Kona.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we're kind of in a chocolatey...
Yeah, and I love the Kona finish. This is actually one of my favorite interiors, but when you look closely at the texture of the leather, you can see that there's kind of this multicolor finish within the Kona itself, and the accent of the stitching, I think just, you know, makes it look fantastic.
Now, some of the other brands use fake stitching, but
Yeah.
this is real. I can tell.
Yeah, we talked a lot on this vehicle about authenticity of materials, and it's something that we're really passionate about in all Cadillacs. But as I said earlier, if you look at the decors of our interiors, if it looks like wood, it is wood. If it looks like metal, it's because it is metal. And we really are passionate about maintaining this truth or this integrity or this authenticity in our interiors.
So while I've got you here, what's the future of Cadillac? Where do you see it going? Where are you taking it?
Well, I think the future of Cadillac is that it's basically always going to be forward-looking. So we're intrigued by new technologies, by new materials, and by implementing them in interesting ways into luxury interiors. Exterior styling, it's about taking the cues that we know as Cadillac and evolving them even further. So the vehicles always should be very dynamic. They should have a presence about them, but always being very forward-looking.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of give me I know that's the big vision.
Yeah.
But what does that mean when you kind of distill it to what people will be looking at and seeing, you know, 5 years down the road?
Well, I think 5 years down the road for Cadillac, it's going to be about pushing premium execution in interiors. So even more premium materials. And again, exploring new ways to interpret those materials, because we always kind of see the leather, the stitching, the wood. I think it really is about exploring new materials and taking inspiration from product design and furniture design and home design and bringing those into the vehicles. And on the exterior, about identifying technologies that enable us to have even more passionate, more distinctive styling for Cadillac.
Yeah, and you've got this wealth of history to draw upon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Cadillac.
It's incredible. It really is. I mean,
you were saying to me earlier
Yeah.
that you went into the Heritage Center and you
Yeah.
looked at the older Cadillacs, you
Yeah.
know, the fins, all this stuff that,
Yeah.
that is synonymous with the brand.
yeah, there's so much to draw from, and my perspective is that each successful Cadillac or each Cadillac that is really memorable was a vehicle that was very forward-looking in its time. So our history is almost about the future. But certainly, you know, some of my favorites, the Cyclone concept is one that is just such a fantastic, revolutionary concept, and so beautiful and delicate and elegant. The 67 Eldorado is another car that I just absolutely adore. I think it's such a beautiful Cadillac personal coupe. The 16, you know, another car, and then a wealth of concept cars as well that we've got this rich heritage to draw on and take, okay, what are the cues that we're interested in or that we want to continue to develop for Cadillac, and where do we want to push the brand?
All right, so sum up the Escalade in 3 words.
3 words.
Yeah.
Bold,
Yeah.
distinctive, and then the last one's not a word but a phrase. I think it's a celebration of success.
So basically, you're saying that people buy this car because they've been successful in life, and this is a reward, and this is kind of a way of showing, in a very American way, that, that I've made it, and I'm going to treat myself to a car that represents that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a vehicle that isn't about being or about showing off. It's becoming more and more a vehicle that really is a celebration of success.
Just connectivity as a whole. Whatever you've got, you can bring into the vehicle. The Q system itself can take up to 10 Bluetooth devices, all on its own. We also have 5 USB ports on the interior. There's an SD card slot in there. There are 5 12-volt auxiliary power outlets, and there's a new 110-volt outlet. So whether it's charging or just getting the information into the vehicle, we've got you covered. No problem. The sound system. I hope you guys take advantage of this one today. If you can, if you remember, it takes about 30-40 seconds to pair your phone. You know your own music, you know what you listen to. Put this system to the test. It is an awesome system. It's a 16-speaker sound system with center point, and it's got this great technology. The highs are just really crisp. The whole mid-range is very full. It's not hollow, and the bass is just pure. It won't distort. As loud as you want to play this, it's going to sound fantastic. It's like you ever wear headphones and you're listening and you go, oh my gosh, I've never heard that. You know, you hear the new sounds. This audio system does that same thing, but in the whole vehicle. Power and performance. When you talk about the DNA of an Escalade, apart from that dramatic presence and the bold stance, here's another one that's always been a key player for every generation, is the power and performance. And this is an all-new 6.2 liter, and the main highlights are we're up to 420 horsepower coming from 403. That's great. The bigger story is the torque. We're up to 460 pound-feet of torque, up from 417. That is a great story. And here's where it's great. 0 to 60 in 5.96 seconds. That is a rocket for a vehicle of this size. So this is where the torque really is important. Active fuel management is one of these technologies where we shut down 4 of our 8 cylinders when we're going down the highway when we don't need that power. We've really extended the usage of it. That helps us to get to this great story where we are the leader in V8 fuel economy in the segment at 15 and 21, 15 city, 21 highway. No one else, everybody else is down here, where when I get to the longest vehicle in the segment in 4-wheel drive at 14 and 21, that's as good as anybody else in the segment gets, and a lot are below that. So the big story here is we've got the most horsepower, most torque, and the best fuel economy. So we're covered there. That is a great power story. One of the things you're going to find, especially if you've been in the previous generation, steering and suspension improvements. These are really typically unsung heroes, and they don't get a lot of love, right? But we've made great improvements here. The first one is on magnetic ride control. This is the 3rd generation, and we've added a selectable mode. So when you're looking at the Q system, in the lower left there's a button. It's a shock absorber button, and you can select it, and you will see that in the DIC it'll pop up and it'll show touring and or sport. So if you wanted a sportier mode, you can go to that. Next one is electric power steering. That is just standard. It's electric. It gives us great, nice light efforts when you're doing slow maneuvers in parking lots, and yet we tighten it up when we're on the highway. And so that you get the best of both worlds there. And then a lot of the stuff that you would never see on things that we've redesigned and tuned with engine mounts, attachments to the frame where we stiffened them up, even modified the rear suspension to this cross-axis ball joint to help the steering so that the rear follows the front even closer. And then another area where your whole life is on 4 little patches, we've done a lot of work on the tires where they're better for fuel economy, better for traction, and better for stopping, where this new Escalade stops 9 feet shorter than the previous one. So a lot of great improvements that that usually go unnoticed. Safety is a critical piece. Again, and the industry is moving this way, so not much of this is a surprise, and you'll find that the other Cadillacs, if you've been on those events, have the same type of content. Our driver awareness package has side blind zone with lane change alert. Lane change alert is kind of a newer one. That feature works kind of off of side blind zone, which I'm sure all of you know. Lane change looks back behind you about 230 feet. So in case somebody's coming up behind you much faster than you are, 20, 30 miles an hour faster, it'll let you know to say, hey, stay in your lane for a couple seconds, and you get the same icon in the outside rearview mirror will start blinking and lighting up. That's what that feature is. The one I love is the rear cross traffic. These are big vehicles, and so when you're backing up and you're in a line of vehicles, if you cannot see what's coming down the aisle, this feature will let you. It'll buzz the haptic seat, which is our safety, it's the last bullet on here, safety alert seat. It'll pulse your seat to let you know something's coming, and it'll show up in the navigation screen. It'll show you an arrow and a triangle showing you which direction this other vehicle is coming from. So it's a nice feature. The driver assist is on the premium package only, on the right here. That brings in full speed range adaptive cruise control. And with that, you get automatic collision preparation. That's the feature where if all of a sudden somebody pulls out in front of you and you're jumping off the brake, jumping off the accelerator to get to the brake, the system will know you're trying to do that, and it'll get to the brake faster than you can. So it helps lower your speed and try to prevent that accident. The feature that I like the best, though, is the automatic front and rear braking. Okay, so rear park assist, you're in reverse and you're backing up, and it beep, 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 lets you know that you're getting close to something. If you're not paying attention to that, you can just hit it anyway, right? This automatic front and rear braking actually will stop you. And I know it works because I unfortunately put it to the test. And it's very abrupt, and you know that something happened and it stops you. So if you're just backing up 5-8 miles an hour normal, that's when it activates. If it knows you're trying to get close and close and close, then it kind of deactivates. So it knows, the system's smart enough to know. This one, I only want to highlight a couple things. We've done a lot of work in keeping our vehicles from being stolen or broken into. There's a great secondary market out there for Escalade and Escalade parts. And so we've really taken great strides to keep the vehicle together. The highlighted features over here, interior movement sensor, inclination sensor, the self-powered horn, and the light. Those are the ones we talk about. Those are the ones you'll see in a lot of our literature. People can really grasp those. We've got another dozen, and not even all of them are here, that we've gone through to prevent the vehicle from being stolen. You won't get this slide. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we're doing. Thieves are brilliant, and they'll want to get into the vehicle. Our goal is to make it take longer and longer before they can get into the vehicle, in hopes that they go find something easier to go and steal or break into. Yes?
That pie chart,
Yes.
can you explain what, this is all the different ways that Escalades in particular are stolen, or
In general,
cars in general, or?
In general, these are different ways that vehicles get stolen. So they get broken into, and there's a follow truck that comes and just pushes it around the corner or to a place where they can go and strip it down.
You know all that stuff, you know all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just, this is not specific to Escalade.
No,
this
is
is
in
just
general.
General?
Yes.
Okay.
In general. Since I did not put the chart together, but we've been using it, I'm sure it's probably close for us as well. I don't think, I think it's pretty fair to say that most get stolen the same way. Fraud is just simply you go to a valet and they make a copy of your key or something like that. Another drive-away, that's a drive-away with the key where they're changing parts in the vehicle once they've broken into. So I'll talk about that in more detail if you're interested on the ride. Here's a story that nobody else can tell, and this is an exciting one for us. For the last 4 years in a row, Escalade has won the J.D. Power Initial Quality Survey for the last 4 years in a row. If that isn't a great story, here's the better one. It's our dependability. We've won that one for 14 as well. And this one goes back for 3 years. So if you look at in the segment, if you really want something that's going to last and has great quality, Escalade stands out. Packaging and pricing. Before I go to this slide, and I'll try to be brief, wanted to talk about, this got brought up last night, so it's the only reason why I thought I would share it with the group. Where are the customers going to come from? Do we want to increase market share from where we are today? Sure we do. How are we going to do that? A couple basic ways. One of the areas we talk about is the wandering eye. Our segment's unique in the sense, and sorry for those of you who heard this last night, I told you you'd hear this again. This segment's unique in the fact that people who are in this segment stay in this segment. They like this segment. And they bounce around from vehicle to vehicle, but they want to stay in the segment. The second piece of this puzzle is what we call the wandering eye, or the new kid on the block. Every time a new vehicle comes out in this segment, they get share consistently, 4 or 5%. And then lastly, Escalade, after an 8-year life cycle, we are still #1 for second choice. So somebody who bought a GL, second choice would have been an Escalade. Somebody who was going to buy an Infiniti, second choice, Escalade. So the Escalade after 8-year life cycle is still really relevant and still desired. So when we put all these different pieces together, we are feeling pretty good that we will be able to do a decent job gaining some volume back. Yes, sir?
Speaking of those choices, can you elaborate on what you guys consider to be in this segment besides the Infiniti and the GL?
Certainly, those are the two main, those guys, as well as Range Rover, and to a lesser extent, Navigator. They've fallen off pace with the rest of the group as far as certainly sales, styling, feature content. To a far, far lesser extent than the Q7 is sometimes put in this segment. But clearly the GL and the Q7 are really mid-size crossover vehicles that are just priced in the luxury full-size segment. So that's why they're sometimes considered there. So GL, Infiniti, Range Rover, Navigator, Q7. Okay? Packaging and pricing, just wanted to touch base. I know this is an eye chart. What I really wanted to just basically tell the story here is Escalade is very simple for the dealers to order and very simple for customers to understand online. There's 3 main packages. I've got a standard, a luxury, and a premium, and they just build on each other. Everything in gold is new content for the Gen 4, this next generation. So a lot of new standard content in here. And when we get to the luxury collection, we bring in a head-up display, 22-inch wheels, sunroof, a lot of things that people always want, and some of the safety. We come in here to the premium collection, we bring in the full speed range, adaptive cruise control. We bring in standard rear seat entertainment and some of the other features that we talked about. And then we add cornering lamps as well as the lift door handles. The part that the dealers really like, though, are these are my free flows. It doesn't get much simpler than this in the industry. You either get rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, and you either get second row, buckets, or a bench. Okay, so for my base model, that's it. So it's very simple. So when I get to the luxury, all I add are an up-level 22-inch wheel from the one that comes with it, or I make rear seat entertainment available. And when I get all the way to my premium, the first two are still the same, and I add the same 22-inch wheel, or I add these power assist steps, which a lot of the vehicles have. You'll see those today on the ride. Base price, everybody's always wondering, hey, how much is this thing coming out for? $72,690. And then we just work our way up to there to $81,190. These are short wheelbase prices. The long wheelbase, and I think that's in the information you're getting, those you can add about $3,000 on each one of these.
Does that include destination?
Yes, destination. Yep.